As you settle into this moment, letting your body sink deeper into comfort, I want to tell you about something remarkable, something that's happening right now, in this very instant. Your brain, that extraordinary 3-pound universe nestled within your skull, is already beginning its nightly transformation. You see, as the day fades and darkness settles around us, your brain doesn't simply switch off like a light. Instead, it begins producing melatonin, that gentle chemical messenger that whispers to every cell in your body that it's time to rest. This isn't just biology, it's poetry written in neurons, and it begins about 2 hours before you typically fall asleep, gradually increasing until it reaches its peak in the deep hours of night. But here's where the story becomes even more beautiful. As you lie here, listening to these words, your brain is actually preparing for something extraordinary. During sleep, particularly in those deep, restorative stages, your brain activates what scientists call the glymphatic system, a kind of nighttime cleaning crew that begins its work only when you surrender to rest. Imagine tiny rivers flowing through your brain, washing away the metabolic debris that accumulated during your day. This system is 10 times more active during sleep than during waking hours, gently clearing away proteins and toxins, leaving your mind fresh and renewed for tomorrow. It's as though your brain has its own secret nighttime ritual, one that's been protecting you every single night of your life. And as this cleaning process begins, something equally fascinating unfolds. Your body temperature starts to drop, decreasing by about 1 to 2 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the night. This isn't a flaw in your body's design, it's intentional, necessary even. This cooling is what allows you to fall asleep in the first place, and it's why your bedroom feels more comfortable when it's slightly cool. Your body is literally changing its internal climate to invite sleep in, like opening a window to let in the evening breeze. Now, as you continue to relax, breathing slowly and steadily, your mind is transitioning between different types of brain waves. Right now, if I could measure the electrical activity dancing across your cortex, I might see alpha waves, those gentle, rhythmic oscillations that appear when you're calm and relaxed, cycling about 8 to 12 times per second. They're the bridge between waking and sleeping, the soft threshold you're crossing right now. Soon, these will give way to even slower theta waves, and you'll drift further into that liminal space where thoughts become dreams, where the boundaries between you and sleep begin to dissolve. There's something else happening too, something that speaks to how intimately your mind and body are connected. As you relax and prepare for sleep, your heart rate begins to slow, dropping by about 20 to 30 beats per minute from its daytime rhythm. Each heartbeat becomes more spacious, more deliberate, as though your heart is learning to move through time differently. And your breathing, notice it now, becomes deeper, slower, following its own ancient rhythm, one that predates language, one that connects you to every human who has ever drifted off to sleep under the stars. And perhaps most wonderfully, as all these changes unfold, your brain is making a choice. It's choosing to process the emotional experiences of your day differently now. During sleep, particularly during REM sleep, which will come later in your night, your brain reviews the day's memories but with the emotional volume turned down, allowing you to process and integrate experiences without being overwhelmed by them. It's as though sleep offers you a gentle distance from which to understand your life, a softness through which to filter even the hardest moments. So as you continue on this journey into rest, know that your brain and body are walking this path with you, making thousands of tiny adjustments, each one designed to carry you deeper into sleep, deeper into restoration, deeper into the healing darkness that welcomes you home each night. And as you drift deeper now, there's something truly magical happening in the relationship between your conscious and unconscious mind. You see, in these twilight moments between waking and sleeping, what researchers call the hypnagogic state, your brain becomes uniquely creative. This is the same liminal space where Salvador Dali used to hover deliberately, holding a key above a metal plate, painting until the key would slip from his relaxing fingers and wake him, capturing the strange wisdom of this in-between place. Your logical, critical mind softens its grip here, and unexpected connections bloom like night flowers, ideas linking together in ways they never would during the bright, structured hours of day. This is why solutions to problems sometimes arrive in the morning, seemingly out of nowhere. While you sleep, your brain doesn't stop thinking, it thinks differently. It takes the scattered puzzle pieces of your day and begins arranging them in new patterns, finding connections your waking mind was too busy to notice. There's a phenomenon called sleep-dependent memory consolidation, and it means that your brain is quite literally strengthening the important memories and skills you practiced today, weaving them more deeply into the fabric of who you are. The song you learned, the conversation you had, the insight that flickered through your afternoon, all of it is being carefully sorted, prioritized, and preserved while you rest. But here's something even more tender about this process. Your brain isn't just filing memories randomly, it's actually selecting which ones matter most, often based on emotional significance. The moments that touched your heart, that made you laugh, that connected you to others, these are the memories your sleeping brain wraps most carefully, preserving them with special attention. In this way, sleep isn't just rest, it's your mind telling you what it believes was truly important about your day, what's worth keeping as you continue becoming who you were meant to be. And as your body continues to relax, another beautiful synchronization is occurring. Your muscles are beginning to enter a state of atonia, a temporary paralysis that prevents you from acting out your dreams. It's your body's ancient wisdom at work, keeping you safe while your mind wanders through imaginary landscapes. Your brain sends signals down your spinal cord that actively inhibit movement, so you can dream of running, flying, dancing, all while your physical form rests in perfect stillness. It's a kind of gentle protection, this nightly immobility, a way of letting your consciousness roam free while your body remains cradled in safety. There's also something profound happening with stress in your body right now. As you sink into deeper relaxation, your cortisol levels, that hormone associated with stress and alertness, are dropping to their lowest points of the day. They'll remain low through most of the night, giving your entire system a chance to recover from the demands of waking life. It's as though your body is finally exhaling after holding its breath all day, releasing tension you didn't even know you were carrying. And in this release, your immune system grows stronger, more capable, using the quiet hours of night to build up its defenses, healing small damages, preparing you for tomorrow. Perhaps most beautifully, your brain is also balancing its chemistry in these peaceful hours. The neurotransmitters that kept you alert and focused during the day, dopamine, norepinephrine, serotonin, they're all shifting now into different patterns. Serotonin and norepinephrine decrease during certain stages of sleep, allowing other processes to emerge. Meanwhile, your brain is producing more of the chemicals associated with restoration and growth. It's a delicate dance, this nightly rebalancing, invisible but essential, as fundamental to your well-being as breathing, as necessary as the tide. So continue to let go, knowing that every system in your body is conspiring toward your rest, every cell working in quiet harmony to restore you, to heal you, to prepare you for the gift of another day. And now, as you rest here in this deepening quiet, something extraordinary is happening with time itself, or rather, with how your mind perceives it. You see, as you move through the stages of sleep, your sense of time begins to dissolve and transform. What might be only 90 minutes in the outside world can feel like hours within a dream, or conversely, an entire night can seem to pass in what feels like mere moments. Your brain's internal clock, governed by a tiny cluster of cells called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, continues its rhythm, but your conscious experience of duration becomes fluid, malleable, dreamlike. Time becomes something you move through rather than something that moves through you. This shifting relationship with time connects to something researchers have discovered about the architecture of your sleep. Your night isn't a single descent into darkness, but rather a journey through repeating cycles, each lasting about 90 minutes. You'll travel through these cycles 4 to 6 times before morning, moving from light sleep to deep sleep to REM sleep and back again, like gentle waves rolling onto shore and retreating, each wave carrying you through different landscapes of consciousness. And with each cycle, the proportion changes. Early in the night, you spend more time in that deep, physically restorative sleep, while later cycles gift you with longer periods of REM, of dreaming, of emotional processing. Speaking of dreams, there's something wonderfully democratic about them. Every person dreams, even those who insist they don't. You'll have approximately 4 to 6 dreams tonight, though you'll likely remember only the ones you're dreaming as you wake, or the ones so vivid they pull you briefly toward consciousness. Those who say they never dream simply aren't waking during or immediately after their REM periods. But the dreams are there, unfolding in rich, bizarre narratives every single night, stories your mind tells itself in a language older than words, working through emotions and experiences in the symbolic, surreal vocabulary of the unconscious. And here's something that might comfort you as you drift. Your brain, even in its deepest sleep, never completely disconnects from the world. It remains vigilant in a way, still listening, still monitoring for anything that might require your attention. This is why you can sleep through the ambient noise of traffic or a fan, but wake immediately to the sound of your name, or a baby's cry, or an alarm. Your sleeping brain is performing what's called selective attention, filtering the world through a protective lens, deciding what can wait until morning and what needs your awareness now. It's been doing this for you every night of your life, this faithful guardian that never fully rests. As you continue to breathe slowly and deeply, your blood pressure is dropping even further now, giving your cardiovascular system a much-needed respite. During deep sleep, your blood pressure can fall by 10 to 20%, allowing your heart and blood vessels to recover from the work of keeping you alive and active all day. This nightly dip isn't just restful, it's essential for long-term heart health. It's as though your entire circulatory system is being given permission to soften, to flow more gently, to remember that not every moment requires readiness and action. And there's something else unfolding in the quiet darkness of your body, something to do with growth and repair. During deep sleep, your pituitary gland releases growth hormone in its largest quantities of the day. In children, this quite literally helps them grow taller, their bodies stretching toward their eventual height in the secret hours of night. But even in adults, this hormone continues its work, repairing tissues, building muscle, strengthening bones. Your body is quietly rebuilding itself as you rest, replacing what was worn down, healing what was strained, making you new again cell by cell. Every night is a small resurrection, a gentle return to wholeness. So let yourself sink even deeper now, trusting in these ancient processes, these rhythms that have sustained human life for countless generations, knowing that your mind and body know exactly what to do in the healing darkness. And as you rest here, breathing softly, there's something almost magical happening with your memories, not just the formation of new ones, but the preservation of old ones too. You see, sleep doesn't only help you remember what happened today, it actually protects memories from years past, stabilizing them, keeping them vivid and accessible. Without adequate sleep, even long-established memories can begin to fade or become distorted. But here, in these quiet hours, your brain is carefully maintaining the library of your life, the face of someone you loved, the taste of your grandmother's cooking, the feeling of that perfect summer day, all of it being gently preserved, tended to like a garden in moonlight. There's also something profound happening with learning, something that goes beyond simple memory. If you practiced a new skill today, perhaps playing an instrument, or speaking a new language, or perfecting a tennis swing, your brain is actively improving that skill right now, even though your body lies still. This phenomenon, called offline learning, means that you can quite literally wake up better at something than you were when you went to sleep, without any additional practice. Your sleeping brain rehearses the motor sequences, strengthens the neural pathways, smooths out the rough edges of new abilities. It's as though you have a devoted teacher working with you through the night, helping you master what you struggled with during the day. And here's something that speaks to the deep connection between sleep and emotional well-being. Sleep deprivation doesn't affect all emotions equally. When you're tired, your brain becomes approximately 60% more reactive to negative emotional stimuli. Frustrations feel more frustrating, sadness feels heavier, anxiety amplifies. But adequate sleep does the opposite, helping you maintain emotional equilibrium, allowing you to respond to life's challenges with greater resilience and wisdom. In this way, sleep isn't just rest for your body, it's emotional armor, a nightly restoration of your capacity to meet the world with grace and balance. As you continue to settle deeper, your eyes, even behind their closed lids, are telling their own story. During REM sleep, those periods of vivid dreaming, your eyes will move rapidly beneath your eyelids, tracking the imagery of your dreams as though watching a film projected on the inside of your mind. This is where the name comes from, rapid eye movement sleep. Your eyes dance and dart, following dream narratives through impossible landscapes, and somehow this movement is connected to the consolidation of emotional memories, to the processing of complex feelings. Even your eyes, it seems, participate in the work of healing and integration. There's something else worth knowing as you rest here, something about the relationship between sleep and pain. During deep sleep, your body's pain threshold actually increases. You become less sensitive to discomfort, less aware of minor aches and tensions. This is partly why people with chronic pain often report feeling worse when sleep deprived, not only because they're tired, but because sleep itself provides a natural form of pain relief, a temporary respite from physical suffering. Your body is literally turning down the volume on pain signals, giving your nervous system a chance to recalibrate, to reset its sensitivity. And perhaps most reassuringly, your brain is doing something remarkable with fear and anxiety right now. During REM sleep, the amygdala, that almond-shaped structure deep in your brain that processes fear and emotional intensity, becomes active, but in a unique way. It's processing fearful or anxious memories without the accompanying stress hormones, essentially allowing you to rehearse and integrate difficult experiences in a safe context. It's like exposure therapy that happens naturally every night, helping you gradually become less reactive to things that once triggered strong fear responses. Your sleeping mind is quietly making you braver, more capable of facing tomorrow with calm and courage. So continue to breathe, to soften, to trust in this profound intelligence that lives within you, this wisdom that needs no instruction, that has been guiding you safely through every night of your existence. And as you drift here in this peaceful state, there's something beautiful happening with your sense of self. You see, during certain stages of sleep, particularly as you descend into deeper levels, the part of your brain associated with self-awareness and self-reflection, the medial prefrontal cortex, becomes less active. In a way, you begin to lose the boundary between you and not you. This dissolution of the self isn't frightening, it's liberating. For these precious hours, you're released from the constant work of being a person with a history, with worries, with a particular identity to maintain. You simply exist, unburdened, like a river that has forgotten it's separate from the ocean. This connects to something equally fascinating about consciousness itself. Scientists have discovered that there are moments during sleep, brief, flickering instances, where you're neither fully asleep nor fully awake, where consciousness exists in a kind of twilight state. These micro-awakenings happen throughout the night, though you rarely remember them. They last only seconds, sometimes less, and they're completely normal, your brain briefly checking in with reality before diving back down into sleep's depths. It's as though your mind is a dolphin, surfacing occasionally for a breath before returning to the mysterious waters below. And speaking of the mysterious, here's something that reminds us how much we still don't fully understand. Some people experience what's called sleep inertia upon waking, that groggy, disoriented feeling where the world seems slightly unreal, where simple decisions feel impossibly complex. This happens because different parts of your brain wake up at different speeds. Your brainstem, responsible for basic functions, rouses quickly, but your prefrontal cortex, the seat of complex thinking and decision-making, takes longer to come fully online. For those first minutes after waking, you're operating with only partial brain function, caught between two worlds, and that's perfectly natural, perfectly normal. As you rest here now, your body is also doing something remarkable with hunger and appetite. Two hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are being carefully regulated by your sleep. Leptin, which signals fullness and satisfaction, increases during good sleep, while ghrelin, which stimulates appetite, decreases. This is why sleep-deprived people often feel hungrier and crave high-calorie foods. Their hormonal balance has been disrupted. But tonight, as you sleep deeply and well, your body is maintaining this delicate equilibrium, ensuring that tomorrow you'll feel satisfied rather than ravenous, balanced rather than desperate for energy. Sleep is teaching your body how much nourishment it truly needs. There's also something happening with your creativity right now that goes beyond what we discussed earlier. Research has shown that sleep doesn't just help you think more creatively, it specifically enhances your ability to find hidden connections, to see relationships between distant concepts. This is called relational memory processing, and it's why artists, writers, scientists, and innovators throughout history have reported that their breakthrough insights came after sleeping on a problem. Your dreaming brain makes associative leaps that your logical, waking mind would dismiss as impossible. In sleep, you become a different kind of genius, one who thinks in metaphors and symbols rather than linear logic. And here's something tender about the social dimensions of sleep. Humans are one of the few species that can choose to stay awake despite being tired, overriding our natural sleep drive for social connection, for work, for entertainment. But your brain keeps track of this sleep debt, accumulating it like a careful accountant. Every hour of sleep you miss is remembered, and your body will eventually ask for repayment. But the beautiful part is this: your brain wants your rest. It's designed to pull you towards sleep, to make your eyelids heavy, to make the bed feel irresistible. This isn't weakness, it's your body's wisdom, knowing that sleep is when you become whole again, when you remember who you truly are beneath the exhaustion. So let yourself answer that call now. Let yourself honor what your body has been asking for, trusting that in surrender there is strength, in rest there is renewal. And as you lie here, suspended in this gentle darkness, something ancient is happening, something that connects you to every human who has ever lived. You see, the circadian rhythm that guides your sleep isn't just a modern biological function, it's an inheritance from millions of years of evolution. Even single-celled organisms have internal clocks that respond to light and darkness. Your body carries within it the memory of countless generations who slept under stars, who rose with the sun, who learned that darkness meant safety and rest. When you close your eyes at night, you're participating in a ritual as old as life itself, following a rhythm written into the very structure of your DNA. This ancient rhythm is why light affects you so profoundly. Your eyes contain special cells, photosensitive ganglion cells, that don't contribute to vision at all. Their only job is to detect light and send signals to your brain's master clock, telling it whether it's day or night. These cells are especially sensitive to blue light, the color of morning sky, which is why dawn naturally helps you wake, and why evening darkness naturally helps you sleep. Your eyes aren't just windows to the world, they're timekeepers, constantly helping your brain understand where you are in the day's cycle, guiding you gently toward wakefulness or rest. And here's something wonderfully strange about the dreaming mind. During REM sleep, when your most vivid dreams occur, your brain is almost as active as when you're awake, sometimes even more so. Blood flow to your brain increases, neural activity intensifies, and yet you remain deeply asleep, paralyzed, experiencing entire worlds that exist nowhere but in the theater of your consciousness. In these moments, you're simultaneously at your most active and your most restful, your brain burning energy to create elaborate fantasies while your body lies in perfect repose. It's a paradox, this dreaming state, profound rest and intense activity woven together. As you continue breathing slowly, there's something else unfolding in the landscape of your mind. Sleep actually changes the physical structure of your brain in measurable ways. The space between your brain cells expands during sleep by as much as 60%, allowing that glymphatic system we spoke of earlier to flush out waste products more efficiently. It's as though your brain is literally opening up, creating channels for cleansing that simply don't exist when you're awake. Your consciousness must withdraw for this maintenance to occur. You have to not be home, so to speak, for the deep cleaning to happen. There's also something profound about sleep and empathy, about your capacity to understand and connect with others. Research has shown that even a single night of poor sleep reduces your ability to read facial expressions, to pick up on emotional cues, to feel compassion for others' struggles. The social parts of your brain become less responsive, less attuned. But adequate sleep restores this. It literally makes you more human, more capable of the emotional intelligence that allows us to care for one another. In sleeping well, you're not just helping yourself, you're preserving your ability to be present for the people you love, to meet them with the fullness of your attention and heart. And here's something that speaks to the mystery of consciousness itself. scientists still don't fully understand why we need to sleep at all. Despite decades of research, despite everything we've learned about memory consolidation and physical restoration, the fundamental question remains partially unanswered. Why must consciousness regularly extinguish itself? Why can't our brains simply rest while we remain aware? The truth is, sleep remains one of the great mysteries of neuroscience, a nightly journey into a state we don't fully comprehend. And perhaps there's something beautiful in that, in knowing that every night, you surrender to a process deeper and older than human understanding, trusting in something that science is still learning to explain. So continue to let go, continue to trust this mystery, knowing that you don't need to understand sleep to benefit from it, that your body knows the way even when your mind cannot follow, that you are safe here in this ancient darkness. The Gentle Journey into Mind, Part 7. Continuing in soft, warm tone. And as you rest here, deeper now than before, there's something remarkable happening with your sense of hearing. Even as you sleep, your auditory system never fully shuts down. Your ears continue to receive sound waves, and your brain continues to process them, but in a profoundly different way. It's performing what scientists call sensory gating, filtering sounds based on relevance and familiarity. The hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of traffic, the whisper of wind, these familiar sounds are processed and then dismissed, allowing them to fade into the background. But your brain remains alert to the meaningful, the unusual, the potentially important. It's a kind of selective listening that happens entirely without your conscious participation, a guardian that never sleeps even as you do. This filtering ability speaks to something deeper about the nature of sleep itself. You see, sleep isn't a uniform state of unconsciousness, it's a spectrum of awareness. In the lightest stages of sleep, you remain somewhat connected to the external world, easily roused by sounds or sensations. But as you descend into deeper stages, particularly into what's called slow-wave sleep, you become increasingly disconnected, harder to wake, more thoroughly absorbed in the internal world of restoration. Your threshold for awakening rises dramatically, sounds that would have stirred you in light sleep now pass by unnoticed. You're traveling deeper into yourself, further from the surface of consciousness, into waters where the outside world becomes increasingly distant and dreamlike. And here's something that might comfort you as you drift. Your sleeping brain is actually practicing and strengthening your immune responses. During deep sleep, your body produces and releases cytokines, proteins that help fight infection, inflammation, and stress. Some of these cytokines are specifically designed to promote sleep, creating a beneficial cycle. Sleep helps your immune system, and your immune system helps you sleep. This is why you often feel so tired when you're fighting off an illness. Your body is quite literally putting you to sleep so it can marshal its defenses more effectively. Sleep is medicine, administered by your own biology, precisely dosed for your body's needs. As you continue to breathe, slow and steady, there's something else happening with temperature regulation. Your body's core temperature reaches its lowest point about 2 hours before you naturally wake, usually in those deep, still hours of early morning. This isn't random, it's coordinated with your circadian rhythm, part of the same ancient timing system that governs so much of your physiology. And remarkably, your body begins warming itself slightly before you wake, preparing you for activity even before consciousness returns. Your body knows morning is coming before you do, and it begins the gentle process of calling you back to the waking world while you're still lost in dreams. There's also something fascinating about the relationship between sleep and decision-making. During sleep, your brain continues to work on problems you faced during the day, but it approaches them from unexpected angles. This process, sometimes called incubation, means that difficult decisions often feel clearer after a night's rest, not just because you're less tired, but because your sleeping brain has literally reorganized how you think about the problem. It's pruned away irrelevant details, strengthened important connections, and sometimes arrived at solutions your conscious mind hadn't considered. Sleeping on it isn't just folk wisdom, it's neuroscience, a real and measurable cognitive process. And here's something tender about the vulnerability of sleep. Humans spend approximately 1/3 of their lives asleep, unconscious, immobile, unaware of potential dangers. From an evolutionary perspective, this seems almost reckless. Why would nature design us to be so vulnerable for so long? The answer is profound. Sleep must be absolutely essential, providing benefits so crucial that they outweigh the risks of being defenseless for hours each night. Whatever sleep gives us, physically, mentally, emotionally, is so valuable that evolution decided we literally cannot survive without it. Your nightly surrender to sleep isn't weakness, it's a testament to how fundamental rest is to being alive, to being human. So trust in this necessity, this biological imperative that's kept humanity alive for millennia, knowing that in vulnerability there is also profound strength, in surrender there is also wisdom. And as you rest here now, drifting in and out of awareness, there's something extraordinary happening with your capacity for insight and problem solving. You see, sleep doesn't just help you remember facts or practice skills, it actually enhances your ability to extract hidden rules and patterns from information you encountered during the day. Researchers have found that people are more likely to discover underlying structures in complex problems after sleeping, even when they weren't consciously thinking about those problems. It's as though your sleeping brain is a pattern recognition artist, stepping back from the canvas of your experience to see shapes and meanings invisible up close. In the darkness, clarity emerges. This pattern-finding ability connects to something even more remarkable about the architecture of sleep itself. As the night progresses, your sleep cycles gradually change their composition. In the first half of the night, you spend more time in deep, slow-wave sleep, the physically restorative kind. But in the second half, REM sleep begins to dominate, with dream periods growing longer and more elaborate. By morning, you might spend 30 minutes or more in a single REM period, dreaming richly, processing emotions deeply. Your night is structured like a story, beginning with physical restoration and ending with emotional and cognitive integration, each chapter serving a different purpose. And here's something that speaks to the social nature of human sleep. We are one of the few species that experiences what's called consolidated sleep, sleeping in one long period rather than multiple short naps throughout the day and night. Most mammals sleep polyphasically, in scattered fragments. But humans evolved to sleep in one extended stretch, likely because it allowed our ancestors to gather safely in groups during the vulnerable night hours, to tend fires, to watch over one another. Your ability to sleep deeply for hours at a time is actually a social adaptation, a reflection of humanity's interdependence, of how we've always needed each other to survive the darkness. As you continue breathing, letting each exhale carry you deeper, your brain is also doing something remarkable with language and verbal memory. Studies have shown that sleep preferentially strengthens memories of words and meanings over other types of information. If you learn new vocabulary today, or heard a story, or engaged in meaningful conversation, those linguistic memories are being particularly enhanced right now. Your sleeping brain seems to have a special affinity for language, perhaps because language is so central to human consciousness, to how we make sense of ourselves and our world. Even in sleep, you remain a creature of words and meanings. There's also something happening with your metabolic system that's worth knowing. During sleep, your body's insulin sensitivity improves, meaning your cells become more responsive to insulin and better at regulating blood sugar. This is one reason why chronic sleep deprivation is linked to increased risk of diabetes, not just because of changes in appetite, but because sleep itself is necessary for proper metabolic function. Your body is literally learning how to process energy more efficiently as you rest, calibrating its response to food, maintaining the delicate balance of chemistry that keeps you healthy and alive. And here's something beautiful about the developmental aspects of sleep. The amount and type of sleep you need changes throughout your life, reflecting different developmental priorities at different ages. Infants spend about 50% of their sleep time in REM, presumably because their rapidly developing brains need extensive neural reorganization and growth. As we age, REM sleep decreases, and the total amount of sleep we need gradually diminishes, though never disappears entirely. Even in old age, sleep remains essential, though its structure and quality may change. Sleep grows up with you, adapting to what your brain and body need at each stage of life's journey, always present, always necessary, always offering exactly what this particular moment of your existence requires. So let yourself sink even deeper now, honoring whatever your body needs tonight, trusting that sleep knows how to care for you, that it's been your companion since the first moment you drew breath, and will remain with you, faithful and restorative, for all the nights to come. And as you rest here, floating in this peaceful state, there's something profound happening with your sense of identity and memory. You see, sleep plays a crucial role in what psychologists call autobiographical memory, the continuous narrative of who you are, the story you tell yourself about your life. During sleep, your brain doesn't just store individual memories, it weaves them into the larger fabric of your personal history, connecting today's experiences with everything that came before. In this way, sleep is literally authoring the story of your life, deciding which moments become part of your permanent narrative and which fade into the background. You wake each morning slightly different than you were the night before, your sense of self subtly rewritten. This process of integration speaks to something remarkable about the consolidation of skills and knowledge. There's a phenomenon called procedural memory, which involves the memories of how to do things, riding a bicycle, playing a musical instrument, typing on a keyboard. These memories are strengthened during sleep in very specific ways, particularly during stage 2 sleep, when your brain produces bursts of activity called sleep spindles. These spindles are like neural staples, binding new skills into long-term memory, making movements more automatic, more fluid. Your sleeping brain is transforming conscious effort into unconscious mastery, turning what required thought into what simply flows. And here's something that might ease your mind as you drift. Worrying about not sleeping actually makes it harder to sleep. This creates what's called sleep performance anxiety, where the fear of insomnia becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But your body has wisdom here. It knows that even quiet rest, even lying peacefully with your eyes closed, provides genuine restoration. You don't have to achieve perfect sleep for your body to benefit from this time. Simply being here, breathing softly, allowing your muscles to relax, this is already helping. There's no need to try to sleep. Sleep comes when you stop reaching for it, when you simply allow yourself to be exactly as you are in this moment. As you continue to settle, there's something else unfolding in the chemistry of your brain. During waking hours, a molecule called adenosine gradually accumulates in your brain, building up like a gentle pressure, creating what we call sleep drive or sleep pressure. The longer you're awake, the more adenosine accumulates, and the sleepier you feel. But during sleep, adenosine levels drop, slowly clearing away like morning fog, so that when you wake, you feel refreshed and alert again. This is the fundamental mechanism behind why you feel tired at night and energized in the morning, a simple, elegant chemical system that's been regulating the sleep-wake cycle in animals for millions of years. There's also something fascinating about the relationship between sleep and spatial memory, your ability to remember locations, to navigate environments, to create mental maps of the world. During sleep, particularly during REM periods, your brain's hippocampus replays the spatial experiences of your day, sometimes at speeds up to 20 times faster than real time. If you walked through a new building today, or drove a new route, or explored an unfamiliar place, your sleeping brain is racing through those paths again and again, strengthening the neural representation of those spaces. You're learning geography in your sleep, becoming more oriented, more at home in your world without any conscious effort. And here's something tender about the emotional dimensions of sleep. Research has shown that sleep helps you hold on to positive memories more effectively than negative ones. While you do process difficult emotions during sleep, your brain seems to preferentially preserve the good moments of joy, connection, beauty, love. Over time, this creates a slight but meaningful positivity bias in your long-term memory. Sleep is gently optimistic, helping you remember reasons to be hopeful, reasons to keep going. It's as though your brain is protecting you from being overwhelmed by negativity, carefully curating your past to help you face your future with courage and resilience. So continue to rest here, knowing that even now, in this quiet darkness, you are being cared for in ways both visible and invisible, your mind and body working in perfect collaboration to restore you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for whatever tomorrow may bring. And as you lie here, suspended between waking and deeper sleep, there's something remarkable happening with your brain's ability to forget. You see, forgetting isn't a failure of memory, it's an active, intentional process that happens during sleep. Your brain deliberately weakens certain synaptic connections, pruning away the trivial details, the unnecessary information, the mental clutter that accumulated throughout the day. This selective forgetting is just as important as remembering, perhaps more so. It's how your brain makes room for what truly matters, how it keeps you from being overwhelmed by an endless accumulation of irrelevant details. In sleep, your mind is becoming clearer, more spacious, unburdened by what you no longer need to carry. This pruning process connects to something profound about neuroplasticity, your brain's lifelong ability to change and reorganize itself. During sleep, the physical structure of your neurons actually shifts. Synapses that were used frequently during the day are strengthened, while unused ones are weakened or eliminated entirely. It's a kind of neural sculpting that happens every night, your brain literally reshaping itself based on your experiences, your thoughts, your focus. You are not the same person, neurologically speaking, when you wake as you were when you fell asleep. Sleep makes you malleable, adaptive, capable of growth at any age. And here's something that speaks to the mysterious relationship between sleep and consciousness. Scientists have discovered that during certain stages of sleep, particularly deep slow-wave sleep, the brain's different regions become less synchronized with each other. During waking, your brain functions as a highly integrated network, different areas communicating constantly. But in deep sleep, these regions become more isolated, more independent, as though the unified self fragmenting into smaller, separate processes. This might be why consciousness dissolves in deep sleep, not because the brain stops working, but because it stops working together as a unified whole. You are many processes, temporarily released from the need to be one coherent self. As you continue to breathe, slow and peaceful, your body is also engaged in cellular repair at the deepest levels. During sleep, your cells increase their production of proteins while decreasing the breakdown of proteins, creating a net gain in cellular building blocks. This is when damaged proteins are replaced, when cellular structures are reinforced, when the microscopic architecture of your body is maintained and restored. At the molecular level, sleep is a time of construction, of renewal, of making sure that every cell has what it needs to function when you wake. Your body is rebuilding itself, one protein at a time. There's also something beautiful about the way sleep affects your relationship with uncertainty and ambiguity. Research has shown that sleep-deprived people become more rigid in their thinking, more likely to jump to conclusions, less comfortable with nuance or complexity. But adequate sleep restores cognitive flexibility, your ability to hold multiple perspectives, to tolerate ambiguity, to think in shades of gray rather than black and white. In sleeping well, you become wiser, more capable of navigating life's inherent complexity, more able to sit with questions that don't have easy answers. Sleep doesn't just rest your mind, it opens it, making space for uncertainty, for wonder, for the possibility that things might be more complicated and more interesting than they first appear. And here's something that connects you to the natural world in a profound way. Your sleep patterns are influenced not just by light and darkness, but by lunar cycles, seasonal changes, even by subtle shifts in the Earth's magnetic field. Studies have shown that people tend to sleep slightly less during full moons, even when they're not aware of the lunar phase. Your body responds to rhythms larger than yourself, to the turning of the planet, to the ancient dance of celestial bodies. You are not separate from nature, even here in your bed, even in the seeming privacy of sleep. You are woven into the fabric of the cosmos, responsive to forces that have shaped life on Earth for billions of years. So rest here in that knowledge, feeling yourself part of something vast and ancient, your breath synchronized with tides you cannot see, your sleep guided by wisdom older than human understanding. And as you rest here, drifting deeper with each breath, there's something fascinating happening with your perception of self and other. During REM sleep, when you dream most vividly, the part of your brain that distinguishes between yourself and other people becomes less active. This is why in dreams you can sometimes experience life from another person's perspective, or feel merged with someone else, or find yourself being someone entirely different. The boundaries that feel so solid during waking life become permeable, fluid. In dreams, you can be many selves, experience many lives, and this might serve a profound purpose, helping you develop empathy, helping you understand experiences beyond your own, reminding you that the self is not as fixed and separate as it sometimes seems. This fluidity of identity speaks to something remarkable about the creative possibilities of the dreaming mind. You see, during dreams, your brain can simulate entire scenarios, complete with sensory details, emotions, and narratives, all generated entirely from within. You can taste foods that don't exist, visit places you've never been, have conversations with people who aren't there. Your brain is capable of creating fully realized alternate realities, moment by moment, drawing on memories and imagination to construct experiences that feel utterly real while they're happening. This extraordinary capacity for simulation might be one of the most remarkable features of human consciousness, this ability to live multiple lives within the space of a single sleep. And here's something that might surprise you about the relationship between sleep and physical coordination. Even your fine motor skills, the precise movements of your fingers, the coordination of your hands, improve after sleep. Pianists play more accurately, surgeons perform more precisely, athletes execute techniques more fluidly after a good night's rest. This happens because sleep consolidates not just the memory of movements, but the timing and sequencing that makes movements graceful. Your sleeping brain is rehearsing elegance, practicing precision, refining the delicate coordination between intention and action. You wake with hands that remember more than your mind consciously knows. As you continue to settle, breathing softly in the darkness, your cardiovascular system is experiencing profound rest. During sleep, your heart rate variability, the natural variation in time between heartbeats, actually increases, which is a sign of a healthy, resilient cardiovascular system. This variability means your heart is able to respond flexibly to different demands, rather than beating in a rigid, mechanical rhythm. Sleep gives your heart permission to vary, to fluctuate, to respond organically to the changing needs of your body. It's a kind of cardiovascular freedom that only happens when you're truly at rest. There's also something profound about how sleep affects your relationship with meaning and symbolism. During waking hours, your brain tends to process information literally, focusing on concrete details and explicit meanings. But during dreaming, your brain shifts to more symbolic, metaphorical processing. Images stand for concepts, objects represent feelings, narratives embody emotional truths rather than factual events. This is why dreams often feel significant even when they're bizarre. Your brain is thinking in poetry rather than prose, in symbols rather than statements. And this symbolic thinking doesn't just happen randomly. It often reflects emotional themes and psychological concerns that your conscious mind might be avoiding or overlooking. And here's something tender about the vulnerability we experience in sleep. When you sleep next to someone you trust, a partner, a family member, even a beloved pet, your sleep actually becomes deeper and more restorative. The presence of trusted others helps regulate your nervous system, signaling safety in a way that allows for more complete surrender to sleep. This is an ancient mammalian response, this deepening of rest in the presence of the pack, the family, the tribe. Even in sleep, even in unconsciousness, you are a social being, and connection with others continues to shape and support your well-being in ways both subtle and profound. So let yourself feel held by this moment, by the safety of this space, by the knowledge that rest is not something you do alone but something you're supported in, by your own body's wisdom, by millions of years of evolution, by the quiet presence of whatever love surrounds you. And as you rest here, peacefully suspended in this gentle state, there's something extraordinary happening with your brain's ability to integrate seemingly unrelated information. During sleep, your mind makes what researchers call remote associations, connections between ideas, concepts, or memories that seem completely unrelated on the surface. A conversation from last week might link with something you read this morning, creating an insight that neither piece of information could have generated alone. This is why creative breakthroughs so often happen after sleep, why the impossible problem suddenly has an obvious solution in the morning. Your sleeping brain is a master of synthesis, finding threads of connection in the vast tapestry of everything you know. This integrative ability connects to something fascinating about how sleep affects your moral reasoning and ethical decision-making. Studies have shown that sleep deprivation doesn't just make you tired, it actually alters your moral judgments, making you more likely to approve of behaviors you'd normally consider unethical, less able to consider the perspectives of others in moral dilemmas. But adequate sleep restores your ethical compass, strengthening the parts of your brain involved in empathy, perspective-taking, and impulse control. In a very real sense, sleep makes you a better person, more aligned with your own values, more capable of acting with integrity and compassion. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and emotional regulation. During REM sleep, your brain reprocesses emotional memories in a unique neurochemical environment, one almost completely devoid of noradrenaline, the stress hormone that makes experiences feel urgent and threatening. This means you're essentially reviewing emotional experiences without the accompanying physiological stress response. It's like watching a recording of something that frightened you, but feeling calm while you watch it. Over time, this helps to strip traumatic or difficult memories of their emotional intensity, allowing you to remember what happened without being overwhelmed by how it felt. As you continue breathing, letting each breath be softer than the last, your brain is also engaged in something called synaptic homeostasis, a process of balancing neural activity so your brain doesn't become oversaturated with stimulation. During waking hours, learning and experience strengthen synapses, making neurons more excitable, more likely to fire. But if this process continued unchecked, your brain would eventually become hyperactive, unable to distinguish signal from noise. Sleep resets this balance, downscaling synaptic strength across your brain, making room for new learning tomorrow. It's a kind of neural equalization that ensures your brain remains responsive rather than overwhelmed. There's also something remarkable about how sleep affects your perception of time on an even deeper level than we discussed before. Research has shown that during sleep, your brain's internal representation of temporal sequences can be compressed, expanded, or even reversed. Events that took hours in waking life might be replayed in seconds during sleep, or a brief dream might feel like it lasted for days. This temporal flexibility might serve an important function in memory consolidation, allowing your brain to efficiently review and process experiences by speeding up or slowing down their replay, focusing on the most relevant moments while skipping over the mundane. And here's something beautiful about the developmental journey of sleep across a lifetime. The dreams of children are often simpler, more straightforward than adult dreams, featuring less complex narratives and more basic emotions. But as the brain matures, dreams become increasingly sophisticated, incorporating abstract concepts, complex social situations, and nuanced emotional states. Your capacity for dreaming grows with you, becoming richer and more layered as your waking experiences become more complex. In this way, your dream life is a mirror of your psychological development, a reflection of your evolving consciousness that continues to deepen throughout your entire life. So continue to rest here, knowing that every moment of sleep is contributing to your growth, to your wisdom, to your capacity to meet life with clarity and grace, that you are becoming who you're meant to be even now, in the darkness, in the quiet, in this sacred space of renewal. And as you lie here, breathing gently in the stillness, there's something profound happening with your brain's ability to unlearn. You see, sleep doesn't only strengthen important connections, it also actively helps you break unwanted associations, unhelpful habits, conditioned responses that no longer serve you. This process, called extinction learning, is enhanced during sleep, particularly during REM periods. If you've been working to change a habit, to release an old fear, to let go of a pattern that's been holding you back, your sleeping brain is supporting that effort right now, weakening the neural pathways that sustain what you no longer want to be. Sleep is helping you become free. This capacity for change connects to something remarkable about how sleep affects your relationship with physical sensations. During certain stages of sleep, your brain's sensory cortex, the region that processes touch, temperature, and bodily awareness, shows unusual patterns of activity, sometimes activating spontaneously without any external input. This might be why you sometimes experience strange bodily sensations in dreams, why you can feel yourself falling or flying or transforming. Your brain is generating its own sensory experiences, independent of your actual body, creating phantom feelings that seem entirely real. In sleep, you're reminded that sensation itself is a construction, an interpretation, something your brain creates rather than simply receives. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and learning in unexpected ways. Sleep actually helps you learn what not to do, not just what to do. When you practice a new skill during the day, you make mistakes, take wrong turns, try approaches that don't work. During sleep, your brain strengthens the memory of successful attempts while allowing unsuccessful ones to fade. It's a kind of automatic editing, a natural process of refinement that happens without conscious effort. You wake knowing more clearly what works, what feels right, what path to take, not because you tried harder, but because sleep clarified the signal by reducing the noise. As you continue to rest, your body is also doing something remarkable with inflammation. During deep sleep, your body produces anti-inflammatory compounds that help reduce chronic inflammation throughout your system, in your blood vessels, your joints, your tissues. Chronic inflammation is linked to so many health challenges, from heart disease to arthritis to depression, and sleep is one of your body's primary tools for managing it. Each night of good sleep is like a gentle wave washing over your body, soothing inflammation, reducing the wear and tear of daily life, protecting you from the slow accumulation of damage that ages us before our time. There's also something fascinating about how sleep affects your sense of agency and control. During waking hours, you experience yourself as the author of your actions, the decision maker, the one in control. But during dreams, this sense of agency becomes fluid and strange. Sometimes you're an active participant in your dreams, making choices and taking action. Other times you're a passive observer, watching events unfold without any sense of control. And sometimes you're swept along by dream logic, doing things that make no sense but feeling compelled nonetheless. This fluctuation in agency might help your brain explore different modes of being, different relationships between intention and action, preparing you to respond flexibly to waking life's varied demands. And here's something tender about the protective nature of sleep. When you're grieving, when you've experienced loss or heartbreak, sleep provides a temporary sanctuary from pain. Not because sleep makes you forget, though we've seen how it does selectively weaken certain memories, but because during sleep, especially in deep stages, the emotional intensity of difficult experiences is temporarily suspended. You get a break from suffering, a few hours where the weight lifts, where you exist without the constant ache. And then, when you return to waking, sleep has often softened the edges of pain slightly, making it more bearable, more integrated into the larger story of your life. Sleep is merciful in this way, offering respite when you need it most. So let yourself sink deeper into this mercy, this gentle refuge that has always been available to you, knowing that whatever you carry, Sleep will help you carry it, will lighten the load, will remind you that you have the strength to face another day. And as you rest here, suspended in this deepening calm, there's something extraordinary happening with your brain's ability to simulate future scenarios. During sleep, particularly during REM periods, your brain doesn't only replay the past, it also rehearses the future, running through potential situations you might encounter, preparing responses, exploring possibilities. This process, called perspective coding, means that your sleeping brain is essentially time-traveling forward, trying out different versions of tomorrow, next week, next year. You're practicing conversations that haven't happened yet, navigating challenges that may never arise, building a library of potential futures that helps you respond more skillfully when the actual future arrives. This forward-looking aspect of sleep connects to something profound about how dreams can reflect your deepest concerns and priorities. The content of your dreams isn't random, it tends to center around themes that matter to you emotionally, situations that carry psychological weight, relationships that shape your sense of self. Your brain is using the freedom of dream space to work through what matters most, often in symbolic or metaphorical form. A dream about being unprepared for an exam might reflect broader anxieties about competence or judgment. A dream about searching for something lost might speak to a deeper sense of longing or displacement. Your dreams are trying to tell you something, speaking in a language that bypasses logic and goes straight to emotional truth. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and your sense of safety in the world. People who feel chronically unsafe, whether due to trauma, stress, or environmental factors, often experience fragmented, lighter sleep, waking frequently, never fully surrendering to deep rest. This is your nervous system remaining vigilant, keeping watch even when you're trying to sleep. But as you cultivate safety, as you create conditions that signal to your body that it's truly okay to let go, your sleep naturally deepens. The quality of your sleep is, in many ways, a reflection of how safe you feel in your life, in your relationships, in your own skin. Deep sleep is an act of trust. As you continue breathing here, letting your body grow heavier with each exhale, your brain is also engaged in something called memory triage, the process of deciding which memories deserve permanent storage and which can be discarded. Not everything you experience is worth remembering forever, and your sleeping brain is remarkably good at making these decisions. Emotionally significant events, novel experiences, information related to your goals and values, these are prioritized for long-term storage. Routine details, trivial moments, information you encountered but didn't engage with deeply, these are allowed to fade. Your brain is curating your past, deciding which version of your life story to preserve. There's also something remarkable about how sleep affects your vocal patterns and language processing. Studies have shown that after sleep, people speak more fluently, with fewer verbal hesitations and filler words. Their language becomes more organized, their sentences more coherent. This suggests that sleep doesn't just consolidate memories of words and meanings, it also refines the neural processes underlying language production itself, making communication smoother and more effortless. Sleep is teaching you how to express yourself more clearly, how to translate internal experience into words that others can understand. And here's something beautiful about the universality of sleep. Every culture throughout human history has recognized sleep as sacred time, as a state that connects us to something beyond ordinary consciousness. Different traditions have different names for it: the realm of spirits, the unconscious, the dream time, the astral plane, but all acknowledge that sleep takes us somewhere other than waking life, somewhere mysterious and meaningful. Whether you understand sleep through the lens of neuroscience or mythology, through psychology or spirituality, the fundamental truth remains: in sleep, you touch something larger than your individual self, something ancient and shared, something that reminds you that you're part of a greater whole. So rest here in that connection, feeling yourself joined to every sleeping person across the world right now, millions of minds all surrendering to the same ancient rhythm, all traveling through the same mysterious darkness, all trusting in the same fundamental process of renewal and return. And as you lie here, drifting in this peaceful space between thoughts, there's something fascinating happening with your brain's ability to reorganize knowledge. During sleep, your mind takes information that you learned in a specific context and extracts the underlying principles, making that knowledge more flexible, more applicable to new situations. If you learned a skill in one setting during the day, your sleeping brain is generalizing that learning, helping you understand how it might apply elsewhere. This process, called schema abstraction, transforms specific experiences into general wisdom. You're not just remembering what happened, you're understanding what it means, what patterns it reveals, what lessons it offers for situations you haven't encountered yet. This transformation of experience into understanding connects to something profound about how sleep affects your sense of perspective. During waking hours, especially when you're stressed or overwhelmed, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture, to become consumed by immediate concerns, to feel trapped in the urgency of now. But sleep creates distance, temporal and psychological, from your waking experiences. When you wake, you often find that problems that seemed insurmountable last night feel more manageable in the morning light. This isn't just because you're rested, it's because sleep has literally changed how your brain contextualizes challenges, placing them within a larger framework of time and possibility. Sleep offers perspective when perspective feels impossible to find. And here's something that speaks to the delicate balance of brain chemistry. During different stages of sleep, different neurotransmitter systems take turns being dominant. Acetylcholine surges during REM sleep, contributing to the vivid, bizarre quality of dreams. Serotonin and norepinephrine recede, creating a neurochemical environment unlike any you experience while awake. GABA, the brain's primary inhibitory neurotransmitter, becomes more active during deep sleep, helping to quiet neural activity and promote rest. Your brain is conducting a chemical symphony throughout the night, each neurotransmitter playing its part in perfect timing, creating the complex experience we simply call sleep. Your chemistry, elegantly orchestrated. As you continue to rest, breathing slowly and deeply, your body is also doing something remarkable with cellular waste removal beyond what we've already discussed. Your lymphatic system, the network of vessels that carries immune cells and removes waste from tissues, becomes more active during sleep. This increased activity helps clear metabolic byproducts not just from your brain, but from throughout your entire body. Old cells, damaged proteins, inflammatory molecules, all of this is being transported away, filtered, processed, eliminated. Your body is taking out the trash while you sleep, performing maintenance that simply cannot happen as efficiently while you're awake and active. There's also something profound about how sleep affects your relationship with pleasure and reward. Sleep deprivation alters how your brain's reward system responds to pleasurable experiences, making you more likely to seek immediate gratification, less able to delay rewards for better long-term outcomes. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-control and future planning, becomes less effective at regulating impulses when you're tired. But adequate sleep restores this balance, strengthening your ability to make choices aligned with your long-term well-being rather than short-term desires. Sleep doesn't just rest your brain, it recalibrates your relationship with desire itself, helping you want what's truly good for you. And here's something tender about the nature of sleep across the animal kingdom. Many species engage in what's called unihemispheric sleep, sleeping with one half of the brain while the other half remains awake and alert. Dolphins do this, keeping watch for predators while still getting necessary rest. Birds can do it too, especially during migration. But humans, we surrender completely, both hemispheres sleeping simultaneously, making us extraordinarily vulnerable but also capable of much deeper restoration. This total surrender is what allows for the profound neural reorganization, the deep physical healing, the complete psychological renewal that human sleep provides. Your sleep is deeper because you trust more completely, because you've evolved in communities where others could keep watch, where collective safety allowed for individual vulnerability. So continue to trust in this surrender, knowing that you are safe here, that your body knows how to protect you even in unconsciousness, that this complete letting go is not weakness but the deepest strength. And as you rest here, breathing softly in the darkness, there's something extraordinary happening with your brain's ability to solve problems through what scientists call insight. Unlike analytical problem solving, which progresses step by step through conscious reasoning, insight arrives suddenly, completely formed, the aha moment that seems to come from nowhere. Sleep, particularly REM sleep, dramatically increases the likelihood of these insight experiences. Your sleeping brain is making intuitive leaps, bypassing the logical pathways that sometimes trap you in circular thinking during waking hours. When you wake with a sudden knowing, a clarity that feels like it dropped from the sky, it's because your sleeping mind has been working in ways your conscious awareness never could. This intuitive processing connects to something profound about how sleep affects your ability to read social and emotional cues. During waking hours, understanding others requires rapid processing of facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, context, all happening simultaneously, mostly below conscious awareness. Sleep deprivation impairs this social cognition significantly, making you less accurate at identifying emotions, less sensitive to subtle social signals, more likely to misinterpret neutral expressions as threatening. But adequate sleep restores and even enhances these abilities. Your sleeping brain is actually practicing social understanding, rehearsing emotional recognition, maintaining the complex neural networks that allow you to navigate the intricate web of human relationships with grace and sensitivity. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and physical growth in ways beyond what we've discussed. During sleep, your intervertebral discs, the cushions between the bones of your spine, actually rehydrate and expand. Throughout the day, gravity compresses these discs, squeezing out fluid, making you slightly shorter by evening than you were in the morning. But during sleep, when you're lying down, these discs absorb fluid again, expanding back to their full height. You literally grow taller overnight, regaining the height you lost during the day. Your body is restoring itself structurally, undoing the compression of daily life, making space between your vertebrae so you can move freely tomorrow. As you continue to breathe, letting each breath carry you deeper into rest, your brain is also engaged in something called creative recombination, taking existing memories and blending them in novel ways to generate new ideas, new possibilities, new ways of understanding. This is different from simply remembering or even making remote associations. This is your brain actively creating something that never existed before, combining elements from different experiences to generate genuine novelty. Artists, inventors, scientists, all report that their most creative ideas often emerge during or immediately after sleep. You are creating right now, even in this stillness, your mind weaving together threads of experience into patterns that have never been seen before. There's also something remarkable about how sleep affects your perception of pain intensity over time. Chronic pain sufferers often report that pain feels worse at night or when they're trying to sleep, creating a vicious cycle where pain disrupts sleep and poor sleep amplifies pain. But when sleep is achieved, particularly deep sleep, the brain's pain processing centers recalibrate. The same pain signals are interpreted as less intense, more manageable. Sleep doesn't eliminate pain, but it changes your relationship to it, giving you more capacity to cope, more resilience in the face of physical discomfort. Your sleeping brain is adjusting the volume knob on pain, turning it down to levels you can better tolerate. And here's something beautiful about the way sleep connects to your sense of wonder and curiosity. Research has shown that after sleep, people approach problems with more exploratory behavior, more willingness to try unconventional solutions, more openness to novel approaches. Sleep deprivation makes you conservative, rigid, more likely to stick with what's familiar even when it's not working. But sleep restores cognitive flexibility and curiosity, your willingness to explore, to experiment, to embrace uncertainty. In sleeping well, you become more adventurous in your thinking, more willing to venture into the unknown, more capable of discovering what you didn't know you didn't know. Sleep cultivates the beginner's mind, the open heart, the curious spirit that sees each day as fresh territory. So rest here in that openness, that wonder, knowing that when you wake you'll meet the world with fresh eyes, with renewed curiosity, with the courage to explore whatever tomorrow brings. And as you lie here, peacefully suspended in this quiet space, there's something profound happening with your brain's capacity for what researchers call emotional memory modulation. During sleep, your brain doesn't process all emotional memories equally. It strengthens memories associated with emotions that are relevant to your current goals and concerns while allowing less relevant emotional memories to fade. If you're working through a relationship challenge, your sleeping brain prioritizes memories related to connection and conflict. If you're pursuing a creative project, it emphasizes memories of inspiration and possibility. Your sleep is adaptive, personally tailored, responding to what matters most to you right now in your life's journey. This selective emotional processing connects to something remarkable about how sleep affects your capacity for forgiveness and letting go. Studies have shown that after sleep, people report feeling less angry about interpersonal conflicts, more willing to forgive transgressions, more capable of seeing situations from multiple perspectives. The emotional charge of yesterday's argument softens overnight, not because you've forgotten what happened, but because sleep has helped you process the experience in a broader emotional context. The hurt remains real, but it no longer dominates your entire emotional landscape. Sleep creates space for compassion, for others and for yourself, allowing yesterday's wounds to begin their healing. And here's something that speaks to the intricate timing mechanisms of your body. Your sleep-wake cycle is coordinated with dozens of other biological rhythms: hormone release, body temperature, blood pressure, immune function, even gene expression. These rhythms don't just happen to coincide with sleep, they're actively orchestrated by your sleep. When you sleep at irregular times or get insufficient sleep, all of these rhythms become desynchronized from each other, creating what scientists call internal desynchrony. It's like an orchestra where different sections are playing the same piece but at slightly different tempos. The music becomes chaotic, discordant. But regular, adequate sleep keeps all these biological rhythms in harmony, each system supporting the others in perfect coordination. As you continue to rest here, breathing gently and deeply, your brain is also doing something fascinating with what's called statistical learning, detecting patterns and regularities in the environment without conscious awareness. If you were exposed to a new language today, or complex music, or intricate visual patterns, your sleeping brain is extracting the underlying structure, learning the rules that govern these systems without anyone teaching you explicitly. This is how children learn language so effortlessly, how we all absorb cultural norms and social expectations, through this unconscious statistical learning that happens largely during sleep. You're learning constantly, even now, even in darkness, even without trying. There's also something remarkable about how sleep affects your sense of bodily ownership and boundaries. During certain stages of sleep and dreaming, the normal sense of where your body ends and the external world begins can dissolve or transform. You might dream of having extra limbs, or of being able to pass through solid objects, or of merging with another person or creature. This flexibility in body representation might serve an important function, helping your brain maintain an updated, adaptable model of your physical self, one that can adjust to changes in your body over time, to injuries or illnesses, to aging, to the inevitable transformations that come with living in a physical form. And here's something tender about the protective functions of dreaming. Many psychologists believe that nightmares, despite being unpleasant, serve a valuable purpose. They allow you to practice responding to threats in a safe environment, to rehearse coping strategies, to process fears without real danger. Children have more nightmares than adults, perhaps because they're learning about potential dangers in the world, their dreaming minds helping them prepare for challenges they haven't yet faced. Even in adults, nightmares often decrease after successful therapy for anxiety or trauma, suggesting that once the brain feels you've adequately processed a threat, it no longer needs to rehearse your response. Your nightmares are training simulations, your mind's way of preparing you for a world that can sometimes be frightening or overwhelming. So if dreams come tonight, whether peaceful or unsettling, know that they're part of your mind's wisdom, part of how you're learning to navigate existence, part of the extraordinary process of becoming more capable, more resilient, more whole. And as you rest here, floating in this deepening calm, there's something extraordinary happening with your brain's ability to maintain what psychologists call cognitive reserve, the mind's resilience against damage and decline. Each night of quality sleep contributes to this reserve, strengthening neural networks, promoting the growth of new synaptic connections, supporting the health of existing brain cells. Sleep is quite literally an investment in your cognitive future, building a buffer against the normal wear and tear of aging, against stress, against the accumulated challenges of a long life. Every night you sleep well, you're adding to this reserve, this reservoir of mental strength that will serve you for decades to come. This protective function connects to something profound about how sleep affects neurogenesis, the birth of new neurons. For many years, scientists believed that the adult brain couldn't generate new neurons, that you were born with all the brain cells you'd ever have. But we now know that new neurons continue to be born throughout life, particularly in the hippocampus, the region crucial for learning and memory. And sleep, especially deep sleep, supports this neurogenesis, creating conditions that allow these newborn neurons to survive, integrate into existing networks, and contribute to your cognitive abilities. Your sleeping brain is not just maintaining itself, it's growing, regenerating, creating new possibilities for thought and memory and understanding. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and your sense of time beyond just perception. Sleep actually affects how you plan for and think about your future self. Sleep-deprived people tend to make more impulsive decisions, prioritizing immediate rewards over long-term benefits, as though their future self becomes more distant, less real, less worthy of consideration. But adequate sleep strengthens your connection to your future self, making tomorrow's you feel as real and important as today's you. This allows you to make choices that honor not just who you are now, but who you're becoming, who you want to be. Sleep connects you across time to the person you're growing into. As you continue breathing here, letting your body grow heavier and more relaxed, your brain is also engaged in something called synaptic tagging, a process where important memories are literally marked for preservation during sleep. During the day, when you learn something significant or have an emotionally meaningful experience, those neural connections are tagged with molecular markers. Then, during sleep, your brain specifically strengthens these tagged synapses while allowing untagged ones to weaken. It's an elegant system of prioritization, ensuring that what matters most gets preserved while trivial details fade away. Your brain is honoring what touched you, what taught you, what changed you. There's also something remarkable about how sleep affects your capacity for mental simulation and planning. During waking hours, when you imagine doing something, rehearsing a presentation, visualizing a workout, planning a conversation, specific neural patterns activate. During sleep, similar patterns can activate spontaneously, as though your brain is running practice simulations without conscious direction. This spontaneous rehearsal might be why sleep improves performance on tasks you've been practicing, why problem solutions emerge after sleeping on them. Your brain is continuing to work, to practice, to prepare, even when you've stopped consciously trying. And here's something beautiful about the relationship between sleep and gratitude. Research has shown that people who sleep well tend to feel more grateful, more appreciative of the good in their lives, more aware of the blessings they might otherwise overlook. This isn't just because they're less irritable, though that's part of it. It's because sleep affects the brain regions involved in positive emotion processing and meaning-making. Adequate sleep helps you notice and attend to positive experiences, to savor good moments, to feel connected to sources of joy and meaning in your life. In sleeping well, you become more capable of happiness, more attuned to reasons for appreciation, more aware of the countless small miracles that fill each ordinary day. So rest here now, perhaps holding in your awareness one small thing you're grateful for. Maybe just this moment of rest itself, this permission to simply be, this gentle darkness that asks nothing of you except that you surrender, that you trust, that you allow yourself to be held. And as you lie here, drifting deeper with each passing moment, there's something fascinating happening with your brain's ability to process abstract concepts and metaphorical thinking. During REM sleep, the regions of your brain responsible for abstract reasoning and symbolic thought become highly active, working in ways that differ dramatically from waking cognition. This is why dreams so often speak in metaphor, a house representing the self, water symbolizing emotions, journeys standing for life transitions. Your sleeping brain thinks in poetry, in imagery, in symbols that carry layers of meaning words alone could never capture. This metaphorical processing isn't confusion or randomness, It's a sophisticated form of thought that allows you to understand experiences at depths literal language cannot reach. This symbolic thinking connects to something profound about how sleep affects your capacity for self-reflection and insight into your own psyche. During waking hours, you experience yourself from the inside, caught up in your own narrative, often unable to see yourself with any real objectivity. But during dreams, you sometimes encounter representations of yourself, other characters who embody aspects of your personality, situations that mirror your waking life conflicts, scenarios that reveal hidden fears or desires. Your dreaming mind is holding up a mirror, showing you truths about yourself that your waking ego might resist or deny. Sleep offers you a form of self-knowledge that requires you to think symbolically, to interpret rather than to simply know. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and language development. Even in adults, sleep continues to strengthen linguistic abilities in subtle but meaningful ways. After learning new vocabulary or grammatical structures, sleep helps integrate that new language knowledge into your existing linguistic framework. This is especially pronounced when learning a second language. Students who study vocabulary before sleep retain more words and recall them more easily than those who study at other times of day. Your sleeping brain is weaving new words into the fabric of your linguistic competence, expanding your capacity to express yourself, to understand others, to think in language with greater nuance and flexibility. As you continue to rest, breathing slowly and steadily, your body is also doing something remarkable with bone remodeling. Throughout the day, your bones experience tiny amounts of damage from the stress of movement and weight-bearing. But during sleep, specialized cells called osteoblasts work to repair this damage and build new bone tissue, while other cells called osteoclasts remove old or damaged bone. This delicate balance of destruction and creation happens continuously, but it accelerates during sleep when growth hormone levels are highest. Your skeleton is literally being rebuilt as you rest, maintaining its strength and integrity, ensuring that it can continue supporting you through all of tomorrow's movements. There's also something profound about how sleep affects your relationship with uncertainty and the unknown. Research has shown that sleep-deprived individuals have more difficulty with tasks that involve ambiguous or incomplete information. They become more rigid, more binary in their thinking, less comfortable with nuance. But adequate sleep enhances your tolerance for ambiguity, your ability to hold contradictory ideas simultaneously, your comfort with not knowing. This cognitive flexibility is essential for wisdom, for mature judgment, for navigating a complex world where certainty is rare and most important questions have multiple valid answers. Sleep doesn't give you answers, it gives you the capacity to live gracefully with questions. And here's something tender about the social dimensions of dreams. People often dream about the individuals who matter most to them, loved ones, close friends, significant relationships. These dreams aren't just random memory replays, they serve important functions in maintaining and understanding your social bonds. Dreaming about someone you care about might help you process unresolved feelings, practice empathy by imagining their perspective, or simply strengthen your sense of connection to them. Your dreaming mind is tending to your relationships, working to understand and maintain the social ties that give life meaning and purpose. Even in sleep, even alone, you remain fundamentally connected to the web of human relationships that shapes who you are. So rest here in that connection, feeling yourself part of a vast network of care and belonging, knowing that sleep is helping you become not just a healthier individual but a more connected, more empathic, more loving presence in the lives of those around you. And as you rest here, peacefully surrendered to this gentle darkness, there's something extraordinary happening with your brain's capacity for what scientists call memory reconsolidation. Each time you recall a memory during waking hours, that memory becomes temporarily unstable, malleable, open to modification. Then, during sleep, these reactivated memories are reconsolidated, restored in a slightly altered form. This means your memories aren't fixed recordings but living narratives that evolve over time, shaped by each remembering, refined by each night's sleep. You're not just preserving the past, you're continuously rewriting it, updating your life story to align with who you're becoming, allowing old experiences to take on new meanings as you grow and change. This fluidity of memory connects to something profound about how sleep affects your sense of personal identity and continuity. Your identity isn't a fixed thing but an ongoing construction, a story you tell yourself about who you are, where you've been, where you're going. Sleep plays a crucial role in maintaining this narrative coherence, weaving together memories from different times in your life into a continuous story that makes sense, that feels like one life lived by one person. Without sleep, this sense of continuity can begin to fragment, memories feeling disconnected, your sense of self becoming uncertain. But each night's sleep reinforces the thread that connects past, present, and future into a unified experience of being you. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and sensory processing in unexpected ways. During sleep, your brain doesn't just rest from processing external stimuli, it actively generates its own sensory experiences, particularly during dreams. You see images that don't exist, hear sounds that have no external source, feel textures and temperatures that aren't real. This capacity for internally generated sensation reveals something profound. All perception, even during waking, is constructed by your brain. Your brain takes external signals and builds an experience of reality. During sleep, it builds experiences without external input, reminding you that consciousness itself is creative, generative, always making something from the raw material of neural activity. As you continue breathing here, letting each breath draw you deeper into stillness, your body is also engaged in something called metabolic switching, a shift in how your cells produce energy. During sleep, especially after several hours of fasting through the night, your body gradually transitions from burning glucose as its primary fuel to burning fat. This metabolic flexibility is important for cellular health, for maintaining healthy body composition, for giving different energy systems in your cells a chance to activate. Your sleeping body is learning to be adaptable, to draw on different resources depending on what's available, practicing the resilience that allows you to thrive under varying conditions. There's also something remarkable about how sleep affects your relationship with novelty and familiarity. During waking hours, your brain is constantly distinguishing between what's new and what's known, between what requires attention and what can be safely ignored. But during sleep, particularly during REM periods, your brain seems to blur these boundaries, combining familiar elements in novel ways, making the ordinary strange and the strange ordinary. This might be why dreams feel simultaneously foreign and familiar, why you can encounter impossible situations that somehow make perfect sense within the dream. Your sleeping brain is exploring the space between known and unknown, practicing cognitive flexibility, preparing you to respond creatively when waking life presents you with genuinely novel situations. And here's something beautiful about the relationship between sleep and compassion, extending what we've touched on before. Adequate sleep doesn't just help you read others' emotions, it increases your motivation to help others, your willingness to engage in prosocial behavior, your capacity for altruism. Sleep-deprived people are less likely to help strangers, less generous in economic games, less willing to volunteer their time or resources. But good sleep restores and enhances these generous impulses, making you more likely to notice when others need help, more motivated to offer support, more willing to put others' needs alongside your own. In sleeping well, you become a kinder person, more capable of contributing to the collective well-being, more aligned with the better angels of your nature. So rest deeply now, knowing that this sleep is making you not just healthier and smarter, but kinder, more connected, more capable of love. And as you lie here, breathing softly in this peaceful darkness, there's something profound happening with your brain's ability to consolidate what researchers call procedural sequences, the ordered steps that make up complex skills. Whether it's a dance routine, a recipe you're learning, a sequence of movements in a sport, or even the steps of solving a particular type of problem, your sleeping brain is rehearsing these sequences, smoothing the transitions between steps, making the whole process more automatic and fluid. When you wake, movements that felt choppy and deliberate yesterday will flow more naturally, as though your muscles learned something while you slept. Your body is becoming more graceful, more capable, without any conscious practice. This refinement of skills connects to something remarkable about how sleep affects your capacity for improvisation and spontaneous response. When you're learning something new, you initially follow rules consciously, deliberately, step by step. But with practice and sleep, these learned patterns become internalized, freeing your conscious mind to respond flexibly, to improvise, to adapt in the moment. A musician learns scales through deliberate practice, but after sleep consolidation, those scales become available for spontaneous improvisation. A conversation in a new language moves from halting translation to fluid expression. Sleep transforms rigid knowledge into flexible wisdom, rules into intuition, effort into ease. And here's something that speaks to the relationship between sleep and your sense of aesthetic appreciation. Research has shown that sleep affects how you perceive beauty, how you respond to art, music, and natural landscapes. Sleep deprivation dampens your aesthetic responses, making you less moved by beauty, less capable of being transported by art or music. But adequate sleep restores and enhances these capacities. Colors seem richer, music more moving, poetry more profound. This suggests that the ability to experience beauty isn't just about exposure to beautiful things. It requires a brain that's well-rested, a nervous system that has the resources to respond with wonder and appreciation. Sleep preserves your capacity for awe. As you continue to rest here, your body is also doing something fascinating with cellular autophagy, a process where cells break down and recycle their own damaged components. During waking hours, your cells are busy with growth and activity, but during sleep, especially during fasting periods overnight, autophagy increases dramatically. Your cells are essentially cleaning house, removing malfunctioning proteins, damaged organelles, accumulated debris. This cellular housekeeping is crucial for longevity, for preventing diseases, for maintaining the quality control that keeps your trillions of cells functioning optimally. At the microscopic level, sleep is a time of purification, of renewal, of making sure every cell remains healthy and capable. There's also something profound about how sleep affects your relationship with your own attention and awareness. During waking hours, attention is directed, you focus on this, ignore that, constantly making choices about where to place your awareness. But during certain stages of sleep, particularly deep sleep, this directed attention dissolves. There's awareness of a sort, but it's diffuse, non-focused, not directed toward any particular object. Some meditation traditions speak of consciousness without an object, awareness that simply is without being awareness of anything specific. Deep sleep might be the most common experience of this state, a nightly reminder that consciousness doesn't require content, that awareness can exist without any specific thing to be aware of. And here's something tender about the relationship between sleep and self-compassion. People who sleep well tend to be gentler with themselves, more forgiving of their own mistakes, less caught in harsh self-criticism. Sleep deprivation, conversely, is associated with increased negative self-talk, more rumination on perceived failures, harsher internal judgment. This isn't just because tired people are grumpy, it's because sleep affects the brain regions involved in self-referential processing and emotional regulation. Adequate sleep helps you treat yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a good friend, to see your struggles with compassion rather than contempt, to recognize your humanity with tenderness rather than judgment. Sleep teaches you how to be a friend to yourself. So continue to rest here in that spirit of self-compassion, allowing sleep to soften any harsh voices within, to quiet criticism, to wrap you in the gentle acceptance that you deserve, that every human being deserves. And as you rest here now, drifting in this deepening peace, there's something extraordinary happening with your brain's ability to integrate wisdom, not just knowledge, but genuine wisdom. Sleep helps you move beyond simply knowing facts to understanding their meaning, their implications, how they connect to lived experience. This is why important decisions often feel clearer after sleep, why moral dilemmas seem less impossible in the morning. Your sleeping brain has been placing new information within the broader context of everything you've learned throughout your entire life, creating not just memory but meaning, not just information but understanding. You are becoming wiser, even now, even in silence. This deepening wisdom connects to something profound about how sleep prepares you for tomorrow's challenges. Throughout this night, your brain has been doing what it does best, restoring, reorganizing, integrating, healing. Every system in your body has been working in quiet harmony to make you ready for whatever comes next. Your immune system has been strengthened, your memories have been sorted and preserved, your emotions have been processed and integrated, your creativity has been enhanced, your body has been repaired at the cellular level. You have been made new. And here's something beautiful about the cyclical nature of sleep. Just as you surrender to sleep each night, you will also return from it each morning. Sleep is not an ending but a transformation, not a loss but a renewal. You descend into darkness only to rise again into light, carrying with you everything sleep has given you: restored energy, clearer thinking, emotional balance, physical healing, creative insights, deeper self-understanding. Sleep is a promise that keeps itself every single night. You will rest, and you will return, different than you were, ready for what comes next. As you continue breathing here, perhaps now barely aware of these words at all, your body knows exactly what to do. It has been sleeping since before you were born, in the womb where sleep and waking first began to differentiate. It will continue sleeping for the rest of your life, this faithful companion that asks only that you trust it, that you let go, that you allow the ancient rhythms to carry you where you need to go. There's something sacred in this surrender, something that connects you to every living thing that has ever drawn breath. The trees sleep in winter. The ocean tides rest between their risings. The earth itself turns toward darkness every evening, offering half its face to the stars. You are part of this great rhythm, this cosmic breathing in and out, this eternal dance of activity and rest, of light and shadow, of being and becoming. And here, at the end of our journey through these facts and reflections, the most important truth is this: you don't need to remember any of this. You don't need to hold on to these words or these ideas. Your body already knows everything it needs to know about sleep. Your brain is already doing everything it needs to do. All that's asked of you is this: simply rest. Simply breathe. Simply allow yourself to be held by the darkness, by the silence, by the gentle rhythms that have sustained life since the beginning. So let go now of even these words, of any effort to stay present or aware. Let yourself drift wherever sleep wants to take you, into dreams or into dreamless rest, into deep restoration or gentle floating, into whatever your body needs most in this moment. Trust that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. The night is long and kind. Your sleep will be deep and healing. And when morning comes, as it always does, you will wake renewed, restored, ready to meet another day with all the strength and wisdom that sleep has given you. For now, simply rest. Simply breathe. Simply sleep. And know that you are held, you are safe, you are exactly enough, just as you are, in this perfect, peaceful darkness.